Hello, Southwest Florida homeowners and homebuyers. Welcome to the 239 Real Estate Roundtable podcast, your go-to source for navigating the vibrant real estate landscape of our beautiful region. I'm your host, Kevin Tremmel, a local real estate agent, leader, and investor here in Southwest Florida. On this podcast, we bring you insights from best in the business, top-notch real estate professionals, seasoned agents, and experts in everything from homeowners insurance to mortgages, maintenance, and repairs. Whether you're a first-time homebuyer or a seasoned homeowner, we've got you covered with tips, strategies, and valuable insights to make your journey in Southwest Florida's real estate market a breeze. Get ready to unlock the doors to successful home ownership. This is the 239 Real Estate Roundtable podcast, where we demystify the process, share insider knowledge, and ensure you're well equipped to make informed decisions. Let's dive in.
Hello, everybody. Today, we are thrilled to introduce to you Fausto Gonzales. Fausto is a risk management consultant with the Horton Agency, and Fausto has been in the insurance industry for 5 years, and I'm looking forward to our conversation about insurance. Fausto, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I'm very excited for this podcast. Thank you so much.
Same here. Thank you for your time. And
yes.
Why don't we get started so the audience can get to know you a little bit better, and I can get to know you a little bit better as well. What kind of brought you into the insurance industry? How long have you been doing it? How do you like it? Tell us your life story, so to speak.
My life story? Let's do it.
Wherever you want to start. You want to start at 1 year old, or you want to start 5 years ago?
Depending. What year do you want me to start?
Exactly. I'll leave that up to you.
Briefly about me. Well, I was born and raised in Honduras. I moved to the United States. I relocated when I was 26, 27. So that was about 2017. I moved to Florida. And then I have my family. I got married here. I'm happily married and loving Florida, every single bit of it. And then I got the opportunity at some point, of course, when I moved here, I was going through the cultural shock and all that. So I was trying to find myself first here in Florida, find out what I'm good for, see how can my education back in Honduras, it was going to be a good fit, or what company, all that. Eventually, I got the opportunity to interview for a customer service position in a different agency in downtown Fort Myers for insurance, which I started like that. Once again, like from zero, from shredding papers, all the way to work my way up to what's my position right now in the Horton Group. One of the things that got me passionate about insurance is actually service, helping people. I think insurance, it's so important in this state, same as find a good real estate who's going to guide you for your best interest. Find an agent who's ethical, and find an agent who is always communicating, always try to look for your best interest. I always realize that, oh, that's me. That's me. So let me getting involved in the industry, get more information, educate, apply for licenses and all that. And then as of right now, 5 years into this industry, I found out that my passion to help people and serve, it matched really good selling insurance.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell just by speaking to you for about 5 minutes, you're very extroverted and a people's person. So I think you have to be in our profession, whether it's real estate or insurance. You're constantly talking to people or like lead generating and very face-to-face. So that sounds like, based on knowing you for 5 minutes, it sounds like you're definitely in the right industry or right position, right? So when you moved from Honduras, was the customer service at the end, was that your first job you had in the US?
No, actually my insurance is my second job. I started when I moved here. I definitely didn't want to take a position or accept a position of high responsibility, because believe me, I don't know, you are from Germany. You eventually, I don't know if that happens to you, but in my case, yes. The first year, second year, I was so intimidated by the United States because I came here for vacation or when I was a kid, but nothing like to move here as a full adult, grown adult, start your life from zero, start from scratch, try to do all the immigration process, all that. It was very intimidated. So I tried to take a job, just a regular job in a cafe. And then after that, I moved to insurance. So yeah, this is my official grown adult job. for sure.
Yeah, no, and the reason why I asked, because I had a similar experience. I think intimidated for me, probably not, but the United States, it's definitely like more a little bit of like the Wild West compared to
It
Germany.
is. That's the
Like,
best way to say it.
there's not as many, like no one's here no one's here to protect you, right? Like versus in Germany, like the government steps in like in a lot of ways, and it's
Absolutely.
like how bad can you really F up, right? I mean, there's always gonna be like have you ever gone bowling and they put up the rails on the
The
side?
rails to protect that you cannot.
So that's kind of like how Germany is, and then the United States, the rails are definitely gone, and you can definitely fall into the alley there. So that
Absolutely.
so
Yes.
that's
For me, my challenge was to change my mentality. That this is a high-speed competitive world.
Yeah.
Here, if you fall asleep,
Yeah.
another person beats you in 1 second.
Yeah.
So change that mentality, not to become aggressive, because the last thing that I want to become is aggressive, but I want to be very determined and take care really good of the things that brings my family food, which is my job.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I definitely can attest to that. And I also think, and this is kind of off topic, but since we're on the topic,
Yeah.
I mean, for me, because my first ever job was in America was a server as well. Like that was my first ever job. And for me, I do think like the American dream is definitely still alive.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, I moved here probably similar to you. I mean, I flew here with 2 suitcases and pretty much nothing else. I was young, right? I didn't have a family and stuff, and I didn't have many belongings, but
I had 1 suitcase, so you had more than me.
I had you beat.
I had 1 suitcase in the airplane.
Yeah. So 2 suitcases, first job serving, and then now like just homeowner, and just like it's just come a long way, and I think that is very much still alive in the United States. So
yes, I think at the end of the day, it's like you believe in the American dream. It's in your head, and it's something that is very personal. Very personal. Yeah,
I would agree. I would definitely agree. So that's cool that we're on the same page.
We're on the same page. In the prior 5 minutes, we were like, we connected in so many
for sure.
We have that little bit of a background that maybe another person that was born and raised here might not might not agree or might not understand how the passion and the opportunities.
I think it's human nature, right? People like don't realize what they have until like they don't have it anymore, kind of thing. So like
absolutely,
I do think, contrary to what a lot of people say, but I do think a lot of things are going correct in this state. I can speak for the country because I never lived anywhere else.
Yes.
But
absolutely.
This state, I do think a lot of things are still overall are going well, and people
I agree with you.
Themselves that it doesn't look like this in every country in the world,
No, exactly. That's one of the reasons why I fell in love with Florida. I just love it. I think that there are other states that think differently, and a lot of respect and love for everybody, but I still believe that I'm so blessed and so lucky, so beyond lucky, because there's so many people in the world that would love to have that opportunities that we had. Now we have it. So it's just about taking care of it and make sure that it stays strong, stay clean, and stay beautiful.
Yeah, very well said. So that's cool. It's interesting to speak to like an immigrant, because you said 2017 as well, right? So that's when I
2016. Yes, I moved here in January 6th, and I will never forget January 6th. My airplane landed in Fort Lauderdale, 2016. Yes.
Okay, cool. So 1 year. I moved April 2017, so like a little
2017.
Yeah, so roughly the same time. But well, cool.
Now look at us.
Now look at us being on a podcast together. It's funny how the world works, right?
Yeah.
But so talking insurance, right? So as an insurance agent at the group, what kind of insurance product and like services do you focus on? And maybe you can also share a little bit about the Horton Agency and what they do and what makes them special and why you chose to work for them.
So when it comes to the products, well, Horton Group, it is their headquarters. It's in Chicago, in Illinois, in Orland Park. They're exploring the market here in Florida. We're recently new, a couple of years. There's another agent here, which is Rob Samuels, which is the first agent, and I'm the second agent actually that they hire. So I'm focused on personal lines. The Bonita Spring is focused on the personal line, which is homeowners insurance, rental insurance, DP3, flood insurance, auto insurance, liability insurance. umbrella insurance, which we've seen the high request lately for umbrella insurance, because lately a lot of people that come from up north, they really want to protect their assets. They already have that idea that you might need more liability here in Florida than other states. Once again, there's more people. There's coming here people from vacations. There's more people who has higher risk motorcycles, boats. A lot of people are in the mind of vacation, so there's more likely to get into an accident and cause very like devastating damages. So yeah, so I've seen that big increase on umbrella. Now, of course, Horton Insurance now recently was acquired by one of the largest brokers in the world, which is Marsh McLennan. We are in the entire country, which is their strong one of their strongest industrial or lined is commercial policies. However, I focus here in the Bonita Spring, I'm sorry, office, the personal line.
Okay.
And the reason why when I got the opportunity, when they contacted me about joining their team, and I did an investigation, kind of do my research, who is this company, what are the benefits, what's the value that they saw in me that I can add to their value, and what are their value, what are their opportunities that I can definitely consider for myself and my family. I just realized that this is such a strong company, focus on solutions, focus on ethical, focus on worst case scenarios. That means we're gonna sell you a policy, but we want to make sure that the policy that I'm selling you, it's something that you will use and you will be happy. Like I don't want you to call me later on and tell me, why did you sell me this?
Right.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, for sure. I don't need this, or why, or maybe even,
Oh,
or why didn't you sell me
oh,
this?
why didn't
Right?
you tell me
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
why you didn't tell me that I didn't have uninsured motorists in my
Yeah. Yeah.
coverage in my auto just because I was looking for something more competitive wise,
Yeah.
premium wise.
Yeah.
That's the kind of mentality that I was looking for. I'm looking for a company that puts the interest of the client. Of course, there are special locations. There's some people might not be able to afford the higher limits. We get it. The market in Florida, at least in Southwest Florida, it's very challenging because of the prices of policies. We get it. Absolutely, we get it. But at least if you are going to decide not to go with the offer and the explanation that I'm giving you, at least I'm happy enough that I will able to point the coverages that you're lacking. At least you can have an understanding that your current policy, it's lacking of this. So you
Yeah.
can, oh my God, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So when I present my quote and explain the things that you should have, then we realize that a lot of people are focusing more in that value, in that principle of understanding what am I buying.
Yeah, yeah. And then one thing you said that I found that stuck out to me the most, which I found very cool, is Horton is new to the Florida market, which I find very exciting because we
Mhm.
definitely need it. Because you usually hear only talks of uh, big insurers leaving Florida
Living,
and
yes.
California. So you guys
Mhm.
entered. So I think that is very exciting. That's very, very,
Yeah, absolutely. So we are very excited to have many carriers.
Mhm.
We have many carriers. So many homeowners carriers, many auto carriers that probably were like those carriers are in either upstates or other states. And then because we are here as a broker, that we can bring those carriers here. So if you contact me, at least I will have many options than other agencies that might only sell their own product. Let's put it this way. Allstate, just put as an example, they try to sell their own policies, or Geico sell their own product. At least with us, we're pointing to so many companies that you will have many options with us.
Yeah, yeah, very cool. And so, with this being a real estate focused, I want to home in on the home insurance aspect of things.
Absolutely.
What have you seen are kind of some of the most common like misconceptions people have right now about home insurance?
The most important one, because we've seen the trend of many claims related to this type of loss, is flood insurance.
Hmm.
a lot of people still believe that their homeowner's insurance will pay for damage caused by flood.
Mhm.
I mean, I cannot just, it will be ridiculous for me to stand on why we've seen the damages of the past hurricanes, and not just hurricanes, just the regular tropical storms that we've seen lately in the past 5, 6, 7 years. We've seen the increase of flood damage every single year, multiple times the same year. So some folks believe that their homeowners insurance will pay for it. Homeowners insurance will not pay a penny for flood damages. Flood insurance has to be a separate policy, or if you're a carrier, it provides you an endorsement, which most of the time is not guaranteed at renewal. For flood insurance, take it, but otherwise you have to have flood insurance. Other misconception it is that I'm in a preferred flood zone. There's no way I'm getting flood. That is a lie. We've
Yeah.
seen it with Hurricane Ian. Many properties that were rated as an X or preferred flood zone got damaged, and not just like, oh, got water into my garage. No, it's like a lot of damage,
Yeah.
more than $300,000 worth of damage, or
Yeah.
$250,000 worth of damage. So if you are in Florida, you are in a flood zone.
Mhm.
For the real estate part, of course, if you have a lender, if you're buying a house, the lender will require flood insurance if you are in an AE flood zone or a different higher risk flood zone. The lender is asking you to, like, it's requiring you to carry it. If you are in a preferred flood zone and the lender is not asking you to carry flood insurance, that does not mean that you are out of the flood zone. That means that
Yeah.
yes, you will get flooded in an event. Every hurricane is different, first of all. So if the next hurricane, it's literally a point that destroy your house because of flood, it will do it. It will create damage. So I encourage everybody in Southwest Florida, try to get a quote, at least start to getting a quote in flood insurance. People pay a lot, like in my case, I'm a homeowner. I work hard for that house. I work so much, like work hard to protect my house. So let me try to make sure that the largest cause of loss, which is flood, let me make sure that my house is protected because
Mhm.
of that. So
Yeah.
definitely the flood part is then one of the biggest misconceptions.
Interesting. Yeah, super interesting. And I mean, two things or two follow-up questions. Number one, I can imagine like on a flood zone X or flood zone X 500, if you were to get a flood policy just for extra peace of mind, I can't imagine it being probably that expensive, right? If you're like X, like
So if
those flood zones.
And that's very good point that you brought up. So if you're in a preferred flood zone, that means that you're gonna pay less.
Yeah.
So if you are in an AE flood zone or a higher risk flood zone, of course, it's obviously you're gonna pay a little bit more. So if you are in a preferred flood zone, that means that just you're gonna get a better price.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so pretty much actually being an X flood zone or a preferred flood zone, that pretty much tells you right there, okay, my flood quote or my flood policy might be way cheaper than others. So let me go ahead and get it. So once again, I insist to all of your people, the people that are listening to this beautiful podcast, try to just inquire, just get a hold of an agent, say, hey, let me just get a quote. Start right there. You will surprise that probably was not even close what you're thinking it was going to cost. And then for next year, actually, can you believe that we're like pretty much 6 months away from the next hurricane season?
Yeah, I know.
Like that. We
Yeah.
just finished it and we're about to start again.
I know.
Literally. So we need
There-
definitely people try to put the flood coverage or the flood insurance as a priority.
Yeah. And then good point also you brought up, just because you're an X or 500 or you're out of a special flood zone doesn't mean that your house won't get flooded, which we saw during Ian, which that's why FEMA redrew like
Absolutely.
their maps.
Remapped.
And people that were not in a flood zone pre-Ian are now in a flood zone. And that's
Absolutely.
why. And one thing you also brought up, which the whole like flood insurance and like does homeowners cover flood? I think a lot of the misconception also stems from like, how does an insurance company define flood, right? Because obviously, if you have a leak, like a plumbing leak, someone telling their friends, I have a plumbing leak, they would say, my house flooded, right? And obviously, homeowners insurance would cover a plumbing leak, but they don't cover. So I think people are like, when you say flood, you mean, and you can describe it better, but what do they say? A body of water intruding.
Body of water entering into your property. It has to be from the outside in. So there's two things.
Yeah.
There's water damage and there's flood damage.
Yeah.
It's like two twins, like a set of twins.
Yeah.
One, it's different and the other is different, but they look so alike when it comes to reading a paper.
Yeah.
So water damage, it does, of course. Most of the carriers offer water damage, which is a pipe burst. You're on vacation, you went, whatever it is, you come back 3, 4, 5 days later. Oh, for seasonal people, I'm sure you have a lot of people who live in upstate or outside of the country, and they come back every other month or every 6 months. So if a pipe burst, okay, and you have water damage coverage, okay, that is covered. Okay. Now, there are other carriers that for a reduced premium, they will put a limitation of $10,000, which I highly suggest just contact your agent and have that revised, because 10,000 will not pay for that much.
Yeah.
What if there's already mold growing? What if there's already, it's too much damage? Probably 5,000, or half of that will be the labor of the company trying to help you remediate what happened. So make sure that you go back to your agent and tell your agent, or contact me, hey, Fausto, could you revise my policy? Water damage, make sure that you have full water damage. Now, like you said, flood damage is rising water from the outside.
Yeah.
That is flood. It has to be in several acres of flooding to consider flood.
Question, because now that I've been wondering this, and now so let's say there's a hurricane. So I live in like flood zone X. I mean, I'm like east of 75, right? So let's say a hurricane comes. Let's say a hurricane comes.
Okay.
I don't think my house is not at risk of flooding from like a body of water, but let's say the roof leaks and through the rain of the hurricane, my house floods, right? Is that flood insurance or is that homeowners insurance?
That has to be homeowners insurance.
That's okay. So, because I did think that rain through the roof is also homeowners. So flood is strictly just water intrusion from a body of water.
Exactly. From the outside to your unit.
Okay.
Not from the inside of your unit out. Has to be outside in.
Okay.
So let's say it's been raining for 3-4 days nonstop, which happens every single year, multiple times.
Yeah, of course.
And your backyard is getting flooded. Your backyard is rising, the water is rising. And the next day it keep rising. And all of a sudden it's in the front of your door, like knocking, hey, I'm going inside.
Yeah.
Goes inside of your house, then it's considered flood. And you should have the right coverage for it. Do not file, I highly insist, do not go to your homeowners, hey, I got flooded, I'm going to open a claim. Because more than likely will be declined. And that's going to stay in your records. And after that, not just that carrier will request probably weeks or months later, okay, you called us that your house was damaged by flood. We didn't pay for it. We didn't cover, but your house is damaged. So show me in 3 weeks proof that you have repair. Otherwise, unfortunately, we cannot insure a damaged house.
Yeah.
I will highly suggest people to, if you have questions, contact your agent directly. Get a point of view, get their point of view. That might save you for filing a claim that more than likely will be declined because it's not coverage. Yeah. Now, there is on every declaration page, there is, I forgot the word actually, the actual legal word, but a note, a statement that says, please consider purchasing flood policy, because even if the flood is caused by a hurricane, we will not pay a penny. And they will do that. So if a hurricane, if a lot of wind start raining, what happened with Ian actually, the wind start, pushing the water inland more and aggressive and quickly. Right. A lot of people get damage in their house because of that water pushed by the wind. So a lot of people say, hey, another misconception, but the flood was caused by the hurricane and wind. No, if it's flood, if it's from the outside, just keep that in mind. If the water comes from the outside into your unit, it's flood, period.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Very interesting. That's, yeah. There's so many like little intricacies. So I guess like earlier you said when you quote somebody, right, you always at least want to tell them like kind of their exposure and like the gaps in the policy, right?
The gaps in the policy.
Use the example with auto insurance with like uninsured motorists, for example, right? What are like some common gaps in coverage that in the homeowners insurance market, and maybe what could like I do as like an agent to tell my clients what to look for in a policy, right? Because it's obviously very complicated. I've looked at many of them, and they're very long, and the declarations page is only a very limited, or it's only one part of the puzzle, right? So I guess what are some common gaps that you see, and what should people look for when they look at their homeowners insurance policies?
Let's say you refer me one of your clients, right? To say, hey, I got Fausto here. I know him. He's a good agent, and let me refer to him. Of course, you're putting your name, first of all, in the referral. So you want to make sure that you refer that to a person who's ethical. So the first thing that I start looking, okay, into that policy, it is make sure that the dwelling coverage is at replacement cost.
Yeah.
That's one of the things. There's some policies that just settles at depreciation. I hope I'm answering your question.
Yeah. People just like, they just take their agent's word for it, and then yeah.
So first of all, if you can tell, like once again, tell Fausto, I'm going to send it to Fausto, and make sure that you review this information. That will even make you look like about insurance as well. So it's going to be like, make sure that coverage A, which is how much they will pay to rebuild your house or to replace your house, is at replacement cost. There are some policies that only offer you depreciated value, okay, which is going to be very attractive to the homeowners. They probably have no idea how insurance work, and then, oh my God, I got a $500,000 dwelling coverage, and my premium is $900. That doesn't make sense in this market. So make sure that your dwelling is at replacement cost. And I believe when you're going through the purchases of a house, the lenders require that replacement cost, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah,
Make sure that in order to qualify for that loan, it's at replacement cost. Second, definitely the water damage. We were going back to that water. Those are the gaps. So water damage, make sure that you don't have the $10,000 limitation. There are some cases that plumbing has not been replaced since 50 years old. It's a house that is sitting in a zip code or in an area where most of the houses are old. So that means for the insurance carrier, it's more high of a risk. They're expecting more claims in that area because every house is old. So they have to make sure that they've reduced their exposure for losses. So they put only $10,000 limitation water damage. That's one of the things that I want to make sure that if you don't have any other option, there's no other option. But always try to make sure that you have full water damage. The flood insurance, going back to that, make sure the flood insurance it's added. Now there's another one. We can either actually add it to the misconception about insurance is the screen enclosure. Or your swimming pool.
I like that. Yeah.
Yes, you like that, right?
I like that one.
So if you're with Citizens, unfortunately, you don't have coverage.
Yeah.
So that means no matter what, there's no coverages for their screen enclosure. If it's a tornado,
is that considered part of the home? Like
exactly.
they don't consider it part of the house.
They do not. And always try, Citizens is a residual market, it's the insurance of last resource. That means if you don't qualify, if nobody's insuring you in the private marketplace, of course, Citizens will welcome you. They will insure everybody. But of course, since it's just a residual market and it's part of the Florida state, it's run by the state, they will not insure you as much as the private market. So screen enclosure. So most of the screen enclosure coverage starts at $10,000. Every carrier offers that, which is most of the time is at replacement cost as well. Now these days, $10,000 won't get you that far. So you always want to make sure that the square footage is about $1,000 for the screen enclosure. Make sure that your agent puts at least $15,000 or $20,000, because keep in mind, you have a deductible. Whether it's for hurricane or whether it's for non-hurricane losses, there's a deductible. So try to have enough coverage in order to insurance to actually help you when it's time to file that claim. The gap will be definitely screen enclosure. And it's an optional coverage. That means I can sell you a beautiful policy, but if you tell me, Fausto, I don't want a screen enclosure, I will pay for it myself.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Just make sure that you're aware that you don't have that coverage.
Yeah.
So whatever is the case, don't file the claims for a screen enclosure. So I always want to make sure that the screen enclosure is about $15,000 or more to make sure that when it's time to file the claim, you see the big difference.
Gotcha. So 4 things to sum it up. I'm sure there's maybe some more, but the top 4 is actual cash value versus depreciated
Replacement.
value, or sorry, replacement. Replacement versus actual cash value, or you use the word depreciated value, which is the same as the actual cash value.
Actual cash value.
You said be aware, what does flood insurance cover and what does your home insurance not cover when it comes to flood, right?
Yes, sir.
You mentioned the water damage, like the mold and fungi.
No, water damage. There's another coverage for mold.
Okay.
So everything that is damaged by mold has a different endorsement.
Different than
the
water.
State of Florida requires a minimum of $10,000. Okay. $10,000, it will help you, will not help you to pay all of the costs. So I always put 25,000 minimum.
Okay.
Because if, let's say you have a seasonal client, the seasonal client comes back after 6 months, and I don't know if we have a lot of people from Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Canada is a big market. We love Canadian people because they come here and purchase home, they either rental or just leave it for seasonal purposes.
Mm-hmm.
When they come back here, they find their wall is full of mold.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 10,000 will not get them that far.
Right.
Just to remediate, it will not. So always make sure that you have more than $25,000 or $50,000 endorsement for mold. And I always put that when it's seasonal, it's gonna be higher than the minimum requirement because the likelihood of mold growing when it's not your primary resident is higher.
Yeah, for sure. And then you said just be aware that a regular homeowners insurance policy does not cover your screen enclosure. So those were kind of the 4.
Yes, it is an optional endorsement. Exactly.
Yep. So a standard will not cover it unless it's obviously on an endorsement.
Exactly.
Very interesting. And then as far as like underwriting and qualifying customers, when people think of credit scores, right, they usually only think interest rates and they usually only think financing, right?
Yeah.
Does an insurance company use a homeowner's credit score to determine risk categories or what type of premium they might have or get? Because when I renewed one of my policies, they asked me if it's okay to pull my credit insurance risk score to possibly get a lower rate. So how?
Well, it's like we live in the era that don't tell me your name, tell me your credit score, and I'll believe in you.
Yeah.
Like I try to get, I don't know, even to buy we're going to get to a point that even to buy dinner, when I see your credit score, it will impact any type of policies that you want to buy, either homeowners, either auto insurance and all that. So of course, if you have bad credit, you're not going to get all the discounts that the insurance company is willing to offer you. If you have a great score, so that won't first of all, that will show a financial stability. That shows in the mind of the client, he has a good credit, he has paid his bill, he has not had lapse in coverage, he has not many claims. This is a person that have shown that is not a high risk of financial loss. According to the Florida statute, the insurance see you as a potential financial loss. That's how they determine eligibility, and that's how they determine your premium. So if you have bad credit, the likelihood for them, the likelihood, and once again, in their point of view, of you filing a claim or they have to pay for any type of losses is higher. So the better credit, the better premium, better discount. The lower credit, unfortunately, that means most of the carriers just don't give you the discounts, but still let you purchase that policy. Absolutely. It's just not going to be the preferred premium or the way you were looking for.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think that's also something a lot of people don't know, that their credit score isn't just like financing related. So insurance, car insurance, homeowners insurance, right? So, I mean, that's very interesting. And then you might not know the answer to this. You might, but if you don't,
test me, try me.
Yeah, the credit score, like how much of an impact does it have? Like, so for example, let's say I have a house and my credit score is 550. And let's say I have a normal house, $400,000 roughly in Lee County right now. And my credit score is 550 versus someone whose credit score is 750. Like, how much more is that person for 550 going to pay versus like 750?
Well,
It depends on a lot of factors, but
it depends on a lot of factors. Definitely, it depends on a lot of factor. I'm not gonna tell you that there's no such a thing as a stated, like if you have that credit card, your premium is gonna go $500,
right,
and the other one $700. Every case is different, and not just that. Every insurance carrier puts you in a different tiers.
right,
I have a carrier that is Olympus Insurance, which is very strong. I love to work with them. But yes, if you have not the best credit, the premium is going to be way higher.
yeah, yeah,
Now, if I have other carriers that if you don't have the best credit, simply they just don't apply the good credit discount. And your premium stays the same as I quoted you. It's just dependent, and it's not set in stone. Definitely, just by default, if you have a good credit, the likelihood of you paying less is absolutely higher.
yeah. Okay. And then my next question, I want to preface with nobody has a crystal ball. So I don't want anybody to come and haunt Fausto in 2 years when what he's about to say didn't come true. But what do you think is like the future of homeowners insurance in Florida, right? Especially with, you mentioned hurricane season. We just ended, or we're going to end in 8 days, 6 months from here, we'll be in our next season. So like with environmental risks rising and insurance carriers leaving states like Florida and California and all those states, what's your personal opinion? Like, how is insurance in Florida going to look in the next 5, 10, 15 years?
I know that a lot of people are very scared because we call it the insurance crisis. That phrase has become viral pretty much. And we'll see the struggles. I'm not gonna lie, I see that getting way better, premium wise. I think there are some factors. Of course, the weather, that's why we have insurance. First of all, is worst case scenario. Insurance is weather related more than anything. Hurricanes, of course, we've seen the high increase in hurricanes and losses. That's why the market has been upside down a little bit. However, we had another factor, lawsuits against homeowners insurance. I think that has been even the same level of climate change. I think in Florida, a lot of people took advantage. I'm not saying lawyers are an evil or don't get me wrong. But I believe we had a lot of lawsuits against homeowners insurance, a lot of litigation that led into billions of dollars. And that, of course, that causes the premiums to go up. That causes insurance to go under. So Florida passed, how do we call this? The one-way attorney fees. That is, they don't have that no more for this year, where the lawyers can just charge, hey, my fees is going to be $100,000. You got to pay me that. So there's no such a thing like that. So now we go to negotiation between insurance companies and paying the lawyer's fee. So that we hope that reducing those excessive and unrealistic and just huge fees drop, we will see premiums going down. Okay, of course, we have the weather change, we have the high numbers of hurricanes and losses. We get it. But that's the reason why we have insurance. Once again, I hope that the market goes lower, it goes more affordable for people because some folks cannot afford insurance. They're trying to get a loan for a house that is not the newest, and just insurance could be so expensive.
Yeah.
So yes, I definitely see it coming down a couple. It's not gonna come down to next like tomorrow. Now everything can afford it. No, it's gonna take some times. But just the fact that the state had passed that rule did not, like the lawyer cannot charge $500,000 in fees. Like that. So that's gonna reduce that market. That high level, the high number of losses for insurance companies will be reduced. So I'm seeing from a point of view of things will get better down the road.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And I mean, I think obviously America is founded on the American economy.
The economy, yes.
Like the premise of competition, right? Like,
absolutely.
I think as more carriers like Horton, for example, or Horton, like agencies and brokers, and just carriers as well, enter the market space again,
Mm-hmm.
more competition will, normally create lower premiums overall
Yeah.
for consumers. So, and hopefully we'll maybe have 2 to 3 like slow hurricane seasons, and that'll like balance things out again because
Yeah.
the last 3 years have been,
Oh my God. I
yeah,
got to a point like, take us, God, just take us.
yeah,
It's been surreal. So just this year, 4 hurricanes slamming the state of Florida. It's interesting. It's a lot. It's
and
things to
also,
consider.
yeah,
Things
and
to
then I think,
consider making changes in the
yeah,
insurance market.
yeah, and I think also over time, like when you look at like Fort Myers Beach, for example, I think people also need to realize it's what happened with Ian was crazy, but like everything that's getting built up there now is up to code, right?
Mhm.
Like Fort Myers Beach was a little bit older, like more like quaint Key West kind of style homes, right? Like built many decades ago. Like if
They were not
Ian
ready to
rolls,
see the
yeah, if Ian
climate
rolls
change.
through there again in 5 years and everything's built up to code, it's going to be bad, but it's not going to be as bad, right? So
It's not going to be as bad.
as these communities adjust and to the new risk, I think that'll obviously help insurance carriers as well when the homes are built better. So we'll see what happens, but I'm glad that you are hopeful because I mean,
Oh, yes, I am.
people are worried and like you said, crisis and this and that and
Yeah. Yeah. And definitely one of the things that led to a lot of lawsuits is because probably once again, you believe in that agent that did not put the right endorsement, and then you don't have a house, don't have a roof, and then you file the claim. Of course, it's going to be declined because it's not stated in here. So what do you want me to pay for something that you did not accept? And we did not get a premium or a payment for that endorsement. So I always think that it's a chain of everything. For everything to go well, all the links, how do you say it, has to
the
make sure
links,
that we're all working as a team. Okay. Starts with an agent. An agent, it's the biggest, it's just your first impression. The agent is the first person that will let you to an insurance claim. But whatever I sell you, I want to make sure that is accurate, that you're purchasing something that has the right coverages. That will not lead to a lawsuit if you actually purchase the right endorsements. So it's very important for insurance agents to put the interest of that person first instead of the premium or instead of the sale. That's how I fundament my career. And ethical.
Very interesting. That's very, very insightful conversation. I'm learning a lot. So that's awesome. And then finally, if you had to give one piece of advice, one piece only, one piece of advice to anybody navigating home insurance in Florida right now, what would that piece of advice be?
One piece of advice for somebody who is buying, like trying to get a policy.
Somebody that is buying some home insurance right now, what's one piece of advice that you would give?
First of all, do a research of the agent that you're contacting or the agency. Do a little bit of a research. If I send you a quote and you like it or you're not, or you don't like it, try it. Or if somebody sends you a quote, try to get another perspective, another quote, just to compare. What I do every time that I send a quote, I do a side-by-side comparison. This is what you have and don't have. This is what I'm offering. So for everybody that is in the process of getting an insurance policy because you're about to purchase your brand new house or your first house or your number 50 house, I will say do your research on that agent. Do your research on the quote that you received. Get a second opinion. Get it for evaluation. If you got a quote for somebody else and you have me as an agent, hey, Fausto, can you check this? See if I have everything that I need. Because I don't want to call my agent or be angry with my agent or contact a lawyer after I file a claim because I didn't purchase the right coverages. Clients don't know insurance. It's very confusing and it's changing by the minute. So one thing could be the next year is a different, or the insurance carrier can remove a coverages. There's so many ways that things go wrong. So definitely the piece of advice is make sure that you get a second opinion on the quote that you just received.
Awesome. Yeah, great. Fausto, I want to thank you for your time and your expertise. I think it was great. I definitely learned a lot, and I hope it cleared up some misconceptions. And
Absolutely.
we will, of course, link all your contact information down below in the description. But if someone wants to get in touch with you, how can they best reach you?
So if you want to get a hold of me and going to get a quote and get the Fausto experience, you can reach me.
Trademarked. Fausto experience. I said Fausto
experience. Hashtag.
Trademark. Yeah,
Fausto
hashtag.
experience.
There you go.
Hashtag Fausto experience. Oh my God, the hashtag. We're so old.
We're so old. Yeah.
We're so old. You can call me at 239-359-6419. Or you can send me an email at Fausto, which is spelled F as in Frank, AUSTO .Gonzales with the S at the end at thehortongroup.com. And of course, you can find me on social media, Facebook, which is Fausto Gonzales Insurance Agent. You will see my face and my smile there first then. And then you can reach me on LinkedIn as well, just Fausto Gonzales Insurance Agent.
Perfect.
I'll be happy to help everybody.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Fausto.
Thank you.
You have a great day.
Have a great day.
And that wraps up another insightful episode of the 239 Real Estate Roundtable podcast. I hope you enjoyed our discussions and gained valuable knowledge to enhance your home ownership journey here in Southwest Florida. A big thank you to our incredible guests and of course to you, our listeners, for joining us. If you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, or if you'd like to connect, feel free to reach out. You can find us on Instagram at @KevinTremmel_real estate, on Facebook at Kevin Tremmel Real Estate, or visit our website, kevintremmel.com. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Your feedback is crucial and we're always eager to hear from you. Until next time, this is Kevin Tremmel, your host, signing off. See you on the next episode.